The fourth video response that I'm going to do is on the movie Bridesmaids. And Bridesmaids was directed by Paul Feig. It is starring Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, and Rose Byrne. This movie is classified in the comedy/romance genre, and it's a romantic comedy based on the relationship of two friends since they were children. One friend is an unlucky in love, who's Annie, while the other friend announces she's getting engaged, who's Lillian. Lillian asks Annie to be her maid of honor, but things get competitive when Annie meets Lillian's other friend named Helen. Helen is the storybook friend that looks perfect, acts perfect, and always seems to say the right thing and do the right thing. From canceled bachelor parties to failed wedding showers, the relationship between the three ladies changes throughout the movie, but a close bond eventually develops between all three of them. The reviews I found were on the bostonglobe.com and filmcritic.com. They say that the first time we see Annie and Lillian together, they're discussing men. Annie continues to have sex with a rich jerk who will never love her, and Lillian can't figure out her boyfriend's newly strange behavior. The next time we see them together, Lillian explains that her man has been weird because he was trying to propose. Now that he has, she'd like Annie to be her maid of honor. After the shock vanishes from Annie's face, she accepts it. So this begins an odyssey that involves 6 women, some raw feelings, and the severe destruction of a giant cookie. The movie is built around Annie, a baker who lost her shop and now hisses at customers from behind the counter of a Milwaukee jewelry store. She's like one of the lost boys that drifts through a lot of comedies, a loser whose domestic options are disgusting roommates or her mother. I agree on this. I think that she's kind of like not rude, but she's kind of like snappy towards people, and I feel like she's like that because her life hasn't been as perfect and easy as Lillian's, so I think she's kind of jealous. Also says the difference between them and many of the men Seth Rogen or Steve Carell play in the movies is that Annie's plotting makes sense. She tried for something and thinks it's failed. Lillian's wedding only amplifies that belief. In the last 40 minutes of Bridesmaids, it's convincingly an emotional movie. That's shocking since it seemed bound to draw on and gags and aggressive misadventure. A loopy flight to Vegas, Annie's first time with a gentle husband Irish cop, handsome Irish cop. Of the many comedies that they've produced, this is the first whose finest qualities depart from those of his better productions, where movies like Knocked Up and Superbad and Funny People are obliquely about the love men have for each other. Bridesmaids openly, comfortably turns the stress of being girlfriends into a comedy. It's really about the single friend backing away from the edge of temporary insanity. The director attracts the audience to feel in some way an attempt to reboot the increasingly legitimate complaint that he and the men of his own comedy club might not understand women. The attention also distracts from the legitimate achievements of the Bridesmaids movie, and one of them is how good most of the performances are. A lot of the film pits Annie against Helen, who's the wife of Lillian's fiance's boss, for a best friend title that Lillian has already settled in Annie's favor, but Helen is well-heeled and aggressively desperate to perform devotion, which in turn makes virtually penniless Annie desperate. And in the best scene of pure nonsense, Helen turns up the heat on Annie's boiling pot. Byrne has a slow-motion introduction that, just in kicking of the train of her volcano of a dress, finds the hilarity in mock profession. So I think that this movie really does show how women, like, best friends really are together and how complicated it can really be. And even though this movie isn't that old, I feel like today you could still kind of like recreate it, because I feel like the relationships that like women have with each other is still relevant and prominent like that, and very complicated that men don't understand. So I think that is all about Bridesmaids.